and welcome to another episode of the Be Bold Show. Now, my name is Crystal Jeanne, and as usual, Be Bold stands for bringing education and building opportunity for leadership and development. Be Bold is all about letting tomorrow's stars shine today. Now, as usual, I do have an interview with someone from the Diaspora, and this is Tijani Nwadei, who is here in studio with me to discuss some of the issues that we face with brain drain. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Crystal. It's a pleasure.
Yes,
always.
Definitely. Now, tell me how exactly you are traveling. Where in is it in the States that you're coming from, or how did you get here? Tell us about that.
Well, aside from the fact that you made me come here, I'm actually here on vacation from the States. I just finished my master's in economics from Boston University.
Okay.
And my specialty is in energy economics. And the whole idea is the dependence on the West for energy, be it electricity or whatever you may classify energy. The dependence needs to stop when here in Africa we have all the resources at our disposal to be able to be energy independent. We should be able to produce our own electricity 24/7. And the economics of how the mechanism works is what it is I am devoting my career to.
Wonderful. So now, based on that, then we can just dive straight into that subject.
Okay.
What do you think we need to do then to sort of develop ourselves to be able to sustain ourselves and not depend on other countries for energy?
I mean, the term will be capacity building, which I think most African countries are geared towards now. You know, you need the educated people. Our endowment naturally is such that we have the resources at our disposal. It's just how to tap those resources and use them efficiently that's the problem. And I don't see it being a problem anymore, seeing as we have so many Nigerians, so many Ghanaians, so many Kenyans, Tunisians, wherever, you know, with degrees, advanced degrees in these fields. They have jobs in companies that produce this service. So bring them back, offer them some incentive, it's usually financial, and we'll suddenly see a change in the way things work.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. Now, that is what Be Bold is all about, in discussing issues concerning brain drain and being able to come back and utilize a lot of those skills that we learn outside and to bring them back. Now, do you have any plans of moving back to, well, Nigeria? Because you are Nigerian, right?
Yes, I am.
So do you have plans to move back eventually?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. And what, because, with us, a lot of times we've had like interviews with the diaspora, those Ghanaians living in a diaspora. You're actually the first guest on here who is Nigerian. So can you tell us, in Nigeria, what kind of challenges do you face in dealing with young entrepreneurs trying to make it in Nigeria?
So Nigeria is a peculiar case in that you have, first of all, the sheer amount of people. I mean, we're talking upwards of 100 million people.
Yeah, huge population.
You know, and culturally, they're very much geared towards education. So the situation is, although it's a market with so much possibilities, a lot of people have plans. A lot of people are moving. So our challenge is, when you have an idea, you have to be quick to take the idea, because there are people as educated as you who are just waiting in line to take the same idea. So in a nutshell, it's can the world sustain in Nigeria with so many bright ideas all coming at once? That's our challenge.
Yes.
You just need to come down, see an opportunity, and grab it.
Quick.
You just have to. You can't wait, because there are people who are as intelligent or more intelligent who will take the opportunity in a heartbeat. So even if you're outside Nigeria, you have to constantly come back, keep checking. If not, the boat is just going to sail. So
and you'll be left behind in the States.
In the cold. That's there. No. So,
wow. Yeah. Now, speaking of that, how long have you been in the States?
My undergrad was in the States. I started in 2004, and then afterwards I started my master's in the States as well. So unfortunately, we're looking at about 6 years in the States.
6 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to exclude the holidays where I was here.
Where you came here, which, it's good. It's good for networking. It's good for building your contacts. Now, can you describe to us some of how is life out there for you? Is it, compared to Nigeria?
I mean, you have to give it to the States, The educational system there is fantastic,
Better than in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, yes. Right now, so I would say this: the higher educational system, so the universities and upwards in the States, is second to none. But Nigeria does ground you well in high school. So I give it to them. My university education was fantastic. I got to explore all sorts of fields and finally decide on what I want, and the opportunity was there. So for that, I give to them. The challenge is, you're not American at the end of the day. Well, I am not American at the end of the day. So there is only as much rope that they are willing to give you, especially when you're dealing with a person like myself who has every intention of coming back to Nigeria. So for me, it's taking what's relevant to my country, taking what's relevant to my people, and going out. My challenges in the US are not as bad as those Nigerians or those Africans who go to America seeking a better opportunity without looking back. That's a whole different category of challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with regards to education, because you briefly talked about that, looking at the education that you got in the States, do you find that it's more whether practical or theoretical? And then are you able to apply yourself better, let's say, as opposed to someone that that studied in Nigeria?
Oh, yes. It's really amazing what they've done with the educational system. The truth is, a university education in the States it's gift, it's its curse. It's all encompassing. Your first 2 years, you're allowed to, they have a system where you can take classes across any field and it still counts towards your degree. Before, in your last 2 years, you actually narrow down into what you want. And in between, you have opportunities for internships. You could take a year off and attach yourself to a company and get the practical experience, and then go back to school and finish up the theoretical experience. So, in that light, it's just wide. You have study abroad programs, kids that are in school in the States are taking classes in Australia, taking classes in France.
So you're well exposed, you get to go globally, and you came actually down to Ghana. The very first time that you came to Ghana, you were on on doing something for your university, for your master's. Can you describe that a bit more?
Oh yes, as part of a capstone project for my master's, we got a chance to work with an organization which was trying to bridge the gap in financing for cocoa farmers here in Ghana. Cocoa, the prices of cocoa have skyrocketed, but you find that in Ghana, smallholder farmers do not seem to be basking in, the price of their produce. And at the same time, there are talks about making carbon a currency. They're trying to mitigate the effects of global warming. So if it's possible for Ghanaian farmers to actually raise their cocoa in an environmentally friendly way, that is, as opposed to slashing and burning forests, you actually plant the cocoa seeds with forest, is there a possible way of compensating them? Because ultimately, they are reducing the carbon in the atmosphere. So this was a project we worked on, and it was mostly a feasibility study, what are the gaps in possible carbon financing project. And my school enabled me to do that. They financed it, and it was a wonderful experience.
I can imagine. I really can. Now, another thing is we see the problems that we have in Africa, here in Ghana with the educational systems, and also in Nigeria compared to how it is in, let's say Canada or the States and stuff. What do you think that, first of all, my question is, who do you think the burden falls on in reversing brain drain and trying to get people to come down? Is it, let's say, the government, the private sectors, or the individual? And then how should a country, or how should we transition to get people to move back? So advice in that area, regards.
Okay, for no fee at all, I would actually grant you this consultancy advice. Well, it's a multifaceted answer, but what is the role of a government? The government's role is actually to create an environment suitable to its people, the people that put the government in power. The private sector's role is to make profit. They provide us with a service efficiently, in quotes, and they price it, the market does what it has to do, and the service clears. So it is the role of the government to create an environment such that private enterprises can function well enough to attract back, I would say, our lost Africans. And
that's us.
Well, I'm coming back. And the thing is, it's such a great responsibility that I sometimes wonder if the government realizes that it's its role. It's its role to put laws in place to enable the financial system work. A working financial system means the small entrepreneur, the medium-sized entrepreneur can get a loan and finance businesses. It's the government's role to create roads so that the manufacturer can move its goods from point A to point B. It's the government's role to make sure our ports are working. It's the government's role to make sure the airport works so freight planes can move. These are the little things that in the long run affect if a business can survive here or not. The businesses are the things that actually draw back our people. So in a nutshell, I think the government does bear the burden of, the responsibility in this matter.
Now, Tijani, today is Valentine's. Well, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So today is a bit of a special for Valentine's Day. And so I'd like to ask you this question. Being that you are a Nigerian and you're living abroad, what kind of challenges do you face, let's say, in looking for that special somebody in your life?
Wow, there are many assumptions there.
Oh, one, okay. Maybe you already have somebody. Tackle it however you want to, but looking at everybody, it can even be a general,
Okay. Well, I mean, Africans are mobile people, though, so I don't know that it's a challenge looking for another Nigerian abroad or a Ghanaian abroad.
So there you're saying that you're looking for a Nigerian already?
Oh yes, definitely, it makes things easier, same culture, we get along well. Yeah. Okay, so let's put it this way, right? In a nutshell, she has to be African. Preferably from West Africa, specifically Nigeria, even best.
So is this why you come home every Christmas and holidays to try and find your special somebody? They'll be out there, you'll be waiting for them there.
It's a perk of coming back. You get to see all of them and it's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for being here with us on our special edition for Valentine's Day tomorrow.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly with some more on the special day for Valentine's.